Hi, my name is Tazme. I am a club kid, performance artist, and DJ, and the founder of The Death of Glitter. The Death of Glitter is a party that I started here in Cape Town 5 years ago, and it's kind of this like underground queer happening that I created with my friends, mostly because I was in search of a particular kind of queer space here in Cape Town that I didn't find at first. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna make it for myself. So the idea of care has been essential to the work that I do, and in terms of like the community that I've created. I think without a sense of care, it wouldn't have been possible for me to create a space that people come to and feel comfortable enough to be kind of like their authentic selves. What these kids were looking for was one person to kind of like see them and go, I care about you and who you are, and I want to create a space that champions the visibility of your authentic self. And that's why when people come up to me and call me mother, it means a lot, because I genuinely do care about these people, and I want them to feel free, and I want them to feel like they have a home and a space to be themselves. And then when I think about care in terms of like fashion or style, I suppose I relate it to how we as queer people take a lot of care in putting ourselves together, the way that we like adorn ourselves, this idea of us wanting to create fantasy, because I suppose queerness lives between fantasy and reality, right? And a lot of the time we don't have the means to make those fantasies happen, so we use the stuff that we find around us, found objects, things that, you know, can be like recycled, used again, and repurposed, and plastic. The most beautiful thing about the power of fashion is its ability to transform. I think what I love about fashion, what I love about being sartorial, is its ability to like shift and morph the body, its ability to like change face. And I've always been drawn to like a very comedionic sense of being, because in a sense, I suppose, like my body is my artwork. And for me, as a performance artist, my medium is the body. So through fashion, the ability to turn the body into something that, you know, comes straight out of your imagination is incredibly beautiful, and also necessary, because it does shift the fabric of normality. I mean, if you see me walking down the street looking like this, your normal is going to be disrupted. So yeah, I suppose using fashion as a medium as opposed to using fashion as a necessity is what I'm drawn to. The idea of, I don't know, so I suppose sustainability lends itself to like my practice. And I think my sustainability also came out of like, it came out of a space of need, because listen, I don't have the means to like go out and buy high fashion and couture every day, but I'm gonna find a way to create it the best that I can. And I think also, especially like if you look at club kid culture and drag culture, I think a lot of that like resourcefulness is inherent to what we do. And I think it lends itself well to the conversation of sustainability in fashion, because we don't just throw things away, or we don't like subscribe to that notion of fast fashion where it's like, cool, there's a trend, I'm gonna buy that trend and then throw it away. We're gonna turn that trend into something trendier at the end of the day. So I think it was interesting to think about how I might not think of myself personally and like in my personal practice as a necessarily like sustainable fashion person, but then at the same time, what's so different from like what I'm doing with stuff that I'm finding, stuff that I'm keeping, stuff that I'm I don't know, going out and borrowing and transforming, than what someone who's repurposing fashion and selling them at like crazy prices is doing, you know what I mean? I think there is quite a beautiful sentiment or allegory in the idea of, you know, nothing gets discarded, there's beauty in everything, finding beauty in everything, and kind of like what I do in creating community. Because a lot of the time, the people who come to my spaces, who come to the Death of Glitter, our spaces rather, are people who feel discarded or left behind in society. There are people who feel like they don't have a place to belong. But when they walk into the spaces that, we create for each other more than anything, suddenly you're transformed into a superstar. And I think that's a really beautiful sentiment to compare it to what we do with clothes or what we do with our looks and what we do to each other. We're constantly fixing each other, adorning each other, making each other even more beautiful than we already are. So yeah. First off, I'm not a seamstress. I can't sew, but that is public knowledge, so I'm okay saying that. I am a glue gun queen, and I'm more than happy with my glue gun. But I've also surrounded myself by amazing creative people who kind of understand and share the vision that we have of creating utopias as spaces for people to come through and, explore themselves. And in doing so, I've met people like Blunka, or Trotsatat, as she calls herself, who is probably one of my closest collaborators when it comes to creating looks or creating fashion. And together we've developed this really beautiful creative partnership where I can go to her with these insane ideas, but Blunka just understands how to translate them and why I'm coming to her with that idea. And I think surrounding yourself with people like that is necessary, because it starts creating this unified vision of the fantasy that you're trying to turn into a reality. And in doing that, it just becomes reality.